Ho ho ho, and welcome to a special festive edition of Geek TV. Yes, our dedication to Doctor Who is so strong that we've actually come in on Christmas Day to film a video review of The Husbands of River's Song. This definitely is not pre-recorded because I'm wearing a Christmas jumper and a paper hat. Anyway, The Husbands of River's Song. Was it a Christmas cracker, or was it about as appealing as a sprout on a dinner plate, even though I actually quite like sprouts?
Is there anything on my head?
Well, yes.
Describe it.
Well, you've sort of got antlers.
Antlers?
Yes, antlers.
I think it's important to remember when reviewing a Christmas Doctor Who episode that the goalposts have been moved slightly, and that's the first and last time you'll hear me use a football analogy on Geek TV. This can't just be a regular episode of Doctor Who. You couldn't air something like Heaven Sent on December 25th. It needs to be a little bit bigger, a little bit broader, and something that the whole family can enjoy slumped on the sofa in a food coma after a few sherries. What elevates this episode, I think, what carries it, are two stellar performances from Peter Capaldi and Alex Kingston. Both are utterly fantastic. They deliver performances that are, by turn, heartfelt and hysterical. The first act of the episode basically hinges on one gag, the idea that River doesn't recognise the Doctor, but along with Stephen Moffat, they absolutely milk it for all it's worth. And particularly brilliant, I thought, was the sequence in which the Doctor has to feign sort of surprise and amazement at the idea that the TARDIS is bigger on the inside. It's obvious that Peter Capaldi and Alex Kingston are having great fun making this episode, and I think their enthusiasm is infectious. Admittedly, there's not much of a plot at work here. Stephen Moffat seems content to just put Capaldi and Kingston together and let sparks fly. But that does mean that the episode sags quite dramatically in the middle when the comic larks start to dry up. And speaking of comic larks, we should get onto the guest cast. So Matt Lucas, I thought, maybe pitched his performance a little too cartoonish for my tastes, whereas Greg Davies as King Hydroflax, he's nicely over the top, I think. He pitches it just right for me, and he really fits into the episode's slightly more tongue-in-cheek, humorous tone. This episode, though, does recover from its midway stumble with a strong finish. Not an epic action scene, as you might expect, but actually an extended sequence in which two characters talk about their feelings. And no, that's not how you want every episode of Doctor Who to end, but it's Christmas Day and we can afford to get a little bit sentimental. Such is our investment at this point in the Doctor and River's relationship that the final scenes on Darillium are really quite moving. Capaldi and Kingston are again excellent, and Stephen Moffat actually does a really neat job of tying this episode up with River's first and last appearance way back in 2008 in Silence in the Library and Forest of the Dead. Final verdict then. The Husbands of River's Song is not a stone cold classic by any means, but it is a lot of fun. If you were ranking the Doctor Who Christmas specials, and let's face it, we're Doctor Who fans, we like to make lists, then it would probably land somewhere squarely in the middle. It's perhaps not as good as Last Christmas from Last Christmas, but it's a heck of a lot better than, say, The Doctor, the Widow and the Wardrobe. Well, that is it for this episode of Geek TV, and indeed for Geek TV and Doctor Who entirely in 2015. So, for now, a Merry Christmas to all of you at home.